When they say, I want 6'2" and 100K, they're saying these words. That's a preference. Those are just words. When you watch who they date, they still go after those guys and they will still cheat on their boyfriends with those guys. Don't think that that's not true. But they will often date guys who don't meet those numbers.
Right.
It's the concept of just get it. Girls say, I shouldn't have to tell him.
Tell more about that.
I shouldn't have to tell him. He should just know. You guys want to know the number one thing? You go to a marriage counselor, you know when the marriage is about to end, when she starts saying shit like this. I shouldn't have to tell him. He should just know. I got news for you guys. The world out there's some guys who get it and some guys who don't. And you know what I'm talking about. You've been out to a club. You've been out to places. You've seen the guy who's just smoother than you. He's a better salesperson than you. He's just better at communicating than you. He's better with women than you. You can tell this guy gets it and you don't get it, okay? And now you're looking around in the world. You're looking at Disney and, big tech, and you're looking at the media and pop psychology, and you're like, maybe someone here will teach me to get it. But no, why would they? Beautiful women don't want average men to learn how to have sex with them. Of course, no one's going to teach you to get it. My job is to teach you to get it, because this world you have been shamed for trying to learn to get it.
Right.
Again, I'm not going to define what it is. What I'm going to tell you is you see it, you know it when you see it. The guy who's just flawless and effortless when he talks to the opposite sex, or when he talks to somebody who's high status, he gets it. You don't. Someone needs to teach you, and there's no course, there's no book that teaches you to get it. You either learn it through trial and error, or you go to moa.mentoring.com. That's the way you do it.
Michael. So here's something I want you to expand upon there. So when you say that, like, just get it, or like he's just smoother, he's just more confident, I know this is going to happen because the pickup guys are going to come first and say, oh, what he's saying is you need to learn. Being get it means learning pickup, learning intent.
Yeah.
He's really saying, hey, you need to learn all the pickup stuff. And that's what he's saying, but he doesn't want to say it. Explain that difference, because that always happens all the time. What's the difference between what you said and getting it versus like pickup and like game?
Okay, so here's the situation. Game is fine. I never have a problem with game. What I do is social circle game. Game is great. Cold approach is fine. Cold approach is great. Talking to strangers is a skill set that you need to have in sales, leadership.
Let's clip that one. Let's clip that one.
Yeah.
Cold approach is great.
Cold approach is great. And by the way, a lot of pickup is good too for beginners. What I have a problem with is the highly sexualized, hyper kino escalation, the hypersexualized, hyper intent type of cold approach pickup. That's what I have an issue with, because here's what's happened. Ready? I'm about to blow some people's minds. Those of you who pickup has failed for you, you're going to know what I'm saying is true, but maybe I'm the first person who's ever said this to you. When you show hyper amounts of intent to a woman in a venue, what's happening is you're actually selecting for women who accept that type of physical attention, right? And because of that, because you're selecting for that, what's called in psychology, the sociosexual women, when you select for that, you're far more likely to have sex because you're selecting for a type of woman that's more down to have sex. And you're confusing it for game. You're born on third and think you hit a triple. What happened was she had sex with you in spite of the fact that you were super touchy, picked her up, spun her around, started barking at her, whatever the pickup is. You think that being hypersexual and escalating on her in a public venue is what made her turned on. What you don't realize is that that girl was going to someone anyway, and it just happened to be you. And your hyper aggressiveness only selected for that few 2 to 3% of women that were down for that. So congratulations, you got a girl with a 600 body count that you got to go home with, and you can go brag to your friends about how good your game is.
Right.
Those of you who have been failed by pickup, deep down, you know what I'm saying is true. What you can do is almost like, instead of being born on third and thinking you hit a triple, you can manufacture runs. You know, like you do in baseball, you hit a bunt, sack fly, whatever. You can manufacture attraction. The freebie for manufacturing attraction is called pre-selection, mate choice copying, sexy son's hypothesis. That's the freebie. Anyone can do that. The other ones you could do is break rapport, treat them all the same, make them talk about themselves. There's other techniques that you can use. Again, if-then statements, very easy, logical if-then statements. You can create these huge social situations where this one guy is going up and showing intent. By the way, you're showing intent to a woman who did nothing to deserve it. Meaning your intent is valueless. You showing intent is worthless.
And now you have no status.
You have no status. Again, for me, it's like I'll go meet a beautiful woman and I'll be like, hey, awesome show you did. Or like, really great. Oh, I saw you bought your first house. Congratulations. And I'll never look at her boobs. And she'll look at me and be like, wow, he gave me no intent. I have to work to get Michael's intent. That means Michael's intent is worth more. Your intent is worth less.
Right.
Worth less because you're giving it to strangers just for their physical appearance. That's the reason why. And you're like, well, you go to a bar where there's a bunch of women looking to hook up and they get drunk and then you take one home and have sex with them and think you have game. No, you just, it would be like if there was some way to select for just like there was a bar and the only women that were allowed to come into the bar were women who were just DTF that night, no excuses. Yeah. No, you know what I'm saying? If they had a bar like that, everybody's like, oh, that sounds like a great idea for a bar. but if there was a bar like that, and you could just go there, you would just get laid and you wouldn't have any game. Well, that's essentially what the Keno escalation does. It's just speeding up the process. The problem is...
It's like throwing a screen pass on the one and saying you have a good arm.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not.
But it's one of these situations where it's like
a screen pass on the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's 28-3. That's how they won the. Remember? That's how they won the whole thing. Yeah. Is a screen pass at the one. That concept of like you showing that level of intent. What happens is during all those approaches, there were so many other women that you could have manufactured attraction with, and you didn't because you blew it out because of intent. I knew this for a long time. Do you know who reiterated this to me? Dan. Dan was the main person who reiterated this to me. Don't hit on them. You remember that scene in the movie where he's supposed to hit on Cameron Diaz?
Yeah.
And he's like, and the guy who was directing the movie was like, I just figured since you're so fucking good with women that you would know how to go up and like a cold approach her. And he's like, I don't cold approach women. I just build incredible amounts of social pressure so these women are attracted to me. Doesn't that sound better? Doesn't that sound more fun?
Yeah. So Mike, elaborate on that because some guys are gonna think like it's all in extremes, right? So they think, okay, I'm not gonna, I no intent, right? Okay, I'm just gonna sit in the corner. I'm not gonna talk to any of them. I'm gonna wait for them to come to me. Elaborate on the difference between that.
Yeah. So
a lot of guys say that as well.
I'm still super gregarious. I'm still a little bit ostentatious. I'm still extroverted. I'm still approaching.
Right.
But I'm not like, damn, girl, you're fine. There's none of that in me. What is like, what up, like you see me go up to my guy friends. I go up to Rolo, what up, homie? And then I go up to my female friends. What up, homie? We're a team working together. You guys see the bikini model, the bikini competitions where I got all the girls put their hands in the middle. I turn into Ray Lewis for a couple minutes, just like screaming. Not the Ray Lewis, the murder charges, but like Ray Lewis, the defensive captain, right? I put my hand in the middle and we just like ready, break with all the girls and they get hyped up. Those girls, a lot of the times they're sitting there like they're receiving beta intent from beta males all over the place. And there's this one alpha who's sitting there talking loud and hasn't looked at my boobs once. Yeah. He had hit on me one fucking time. And look at all these other girls around here. Girls look around each other. Man, I wonder which one he's fucking. They'll just start seeing that. And then all of a sudden that fucking pre-selection pang, that evolutionary pang that their ancestors from 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 years ago started feeling. They start having that. It's like, this is a desirable fucking man. He must be. This many women around, he hasn't even looked at me once. Right. What the fuck is going on? I'm going to get his intent. I'll do anything I got to do to get this motherfucker to pay attention to me. That's what they start thinking. I'll go start grinding on my butt on him, or I'll ask him out, or I'll flirt with him, or whatever. And you start seeing it happen when you create these situations with a ratio. Dan, I think, likes to talk about 7-1. I think 3-1 is good. 3 girls to every guy in like an event. I think that's a great way to create that ratio. But like Dan, he articulates it so, but that's why it was so great. The reason why I was so happy when The Rational Male came out is because I knew a lot of those things, but I couldn't write a book on it. And Rolo really put those things into perspective. There is no such thing as a soulmate. Long distance relationships aren't real things. Like things like that. Rolo put it into that way, into a book. He articulated it better than I could. Dan articulated social circle game, the fame brain, that kind of stuff, pre-selection better than I could in his book, which is why that book is required reading for my clients. And so that's the thing that you understand. I want people to earn my respect and earn my admiration, but also earn my intent and earn my attention.
Right.
In order for them to do that, like when I do that, then I'm higher status because they're qualifying to me. When I walk up to a strange woman and it's very clear that I'm just trying to take her home, if I'm super good looking and she's super down, it works. But the problem is you think that you generated attraction. No, you didn't. She was just fucking ready, bro. Whenever I hear this pickup artist like, I grabbed the girl's hair and she said that it turned her on. I'm like, I will bet you any amount of money she was going to fuck someone that night. I'll bet you any amount of money that she was just down that night.
Yeah, it's almost like in sales when like you have a sale and the guy just buys in like 15 minutes. Like anyone could have closed the sale. Like,
yeah,
it wasn't because of your ability.
And you think that it's good. Yeah, exactly.
And you think you're good now, right?
You just had to get out of the way and let it happen.
Again, guys, one more time. You're born on third base and thought you hit a triple.
100%.
No, that's the same. You're born with a silver spoon in your mouth. No, that's it. That's the situation. You have to learn the attribution. Do you guys have any more specific limiting lists?
We have a lot to get through. So,
yeah.
One that I get a lot is, they watch a lot of these clips, right? Whether that's from Fresh and Fit. Access Vegas included, and you hear the girl saying, "Oh, he's got to be like 6'2". He has to be, a certain race. He's got to be black, whatever the thing is." And although they're saying that right on these clips, and you're seeing this stuff, it's tainting their view in the sense that it's like it's giving them a way out, right? Because we're trying to destroy victimhood, right, on the show, but when you are clearly looking at things you quote unquote can't change, that's like an outlet for you to victimhood. It validates their excuses. How do you balance those two with your coaching?
Okay, so just consider this, right? You know who Draymond Green is? You notice how Draymond Green started? He came into the league, he was talking shit, and he was really good. I mean, he's probably one of the best fours in the league, defensive player of the year, incredible passer, rebounder, he could do a bunch of stuff. They could run the offense through him. And he talked a lot of shit. You know how he's gotten worse? Does he talk less shit? So as he's gotten older, his shit talking doesn't stop, right? If you ever see this with people when they get older, they have a big appetite and they're young and they're lifting weights and they're eating, and that appetite helps them to grow muscle. As they get older, they can't grow muscle the same way. Does their appetite go away? No, people get fat as shit. Appetites are infinite. Preferences are infinite. Shit talking is infinite, but the results are not infinite.
Right.
Does that make sense? You can have a wife who spends a lot of money. When you're rich, it's okay. When you lose your money, she doesn't want to stop spending money.
Right.
When you're older, you don't want to stop eating a bunch of food. So these women are having the desires for 6'2" and 100K. But what's the science is showing, and this is inevitability, is that a lot of them are starting to say that's what they want, but they're dating 5'10" at in 80K or 70K or even more. And there's funny videos where it shows like dudes are complete. Girls are like, I'm only going to date a guy who makes $400,000 a year, and she's dating a complete deadbeat.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So the reality is, one of the problems is unreliable narrator. What's it called
unreliable narrator
in statistics though, where it's like self-reporting bias. So that's the answer is self-reporting bias.
Right.
Like this is one of the things I teach guys when it comes to men and women, but mostly with women, is the concept of like I always want to ask what it is that the experience that they had in life. So you started dating a guy. How long? I don't want you to tell me why you liked him, but I would like to know how long it was from when you met him to the first time you had sex with him, because that's a data point that's real.
Yeah.
As opposed to what your opinion is. No, you need to wear this flannel shirt. More girls will like you. It's like, that shirt will make me look gay. She doesn't know. But if you ask her, like, the last 5 guys you slept with, where did you meet them? And she's like, oh, yeah, I met them all on Instagram, or I met them all because a female introduced me. That's a data point that you should use. Does that make sense? So it's the same kind of thing. When they say, I want 6'2" and 100K, they're saying these words. That's a preference. Those are just words. When you watch who they date, they still go after those guys. Don't trip. And they will still cheat on their boyfriends with those guys. Don't think that that's not true. But they will often date guys who don't meet those numbers.
Right.